My fellow friends, investors, good evening. I hope you are well. Let's talk about Palantir here. So we are about to enter the 7th layer of Palantir heaven here. Listen, things are probably gonna get crazy. This week alone, we're having AI conferences. Things are booming. That's why you're seeing Nvidia go crazy for one. But specifically talking about Palantir here, we're gonna break down what's gonna happen here and why we could see Palantir easily run to $50 here by the end of this month. And this is no joke. I'm not trying to make a hype video. This is like the real deal. Hey, you think it's expensive now? We're about to see something really big happen here. I do want to address, because if I don't address, because I know a lot of you will say something, Sofi. Sofi held today. Honestly, I think Sofi held today pretty well. I got to be completely honest. I made a video about this days ago where I said, hey, I don't expect SoFi to hold this 850 zone. I just don't think it's going to happen, not realistically. And I do think that SoFi will take another shakedown. It will have another shakeout, probably to a 780. That's really what I think here. And this is not me being new to SoFi. This is someone who has been with SoFi for the last 5 years and watching what's going to happen here. I am very bullish on SoFi, but you do need to understand that there will more than likely, somewhere in the next 3 weeks, there will be another shakeout in this market before this election. There will be a shakeout. Something will trigger a shakeout. Why? Because things are just going way too good right now. I mean, things are way too high, things are way too expensive, things are way too smooth right now, and they're not supposed to be with what we were talking 2 months ago. There's a reason they're doing rate cuts. There's a reason why things are going on. And do not be surprised to see the Feds just come out and say, hey, we're going to do a revision on these last job reports they just came out with, and do not be surprised to see the market go tanking, rolling, obliterating down the hill. So, and SoFi will be one of the main victims of that situation. Now, long term, get into next year, rate cuts are kicking in, and we start to see this on the balance sheet earnings of SoFi. Yeah, SoFi is going to be rolling, man. SoFi is going to a $20 stock, $15, $20 easily. 6 months from now, this is a different conversation. But if you're trying to buy up, build up capital in SoFi and trying to find the right entry point right now, yeah, if you're in it for the long term, who cares? Buy it. You're going to be just fine. It's going to be $10 probably by January. Let's be honest here. Because in two, don't forget, we're in 4 weeks here, 3 weeks, we're about to have earnings for SoFi. And if what we've seen already is happening in the past year with SoFi, they're going to execute these next earnings too. So be aware of that situation. Okay, getting right into Palantir here. Here's what we need to break down. Friends, I don't want to make a hype video so much, but there's really not much I can say that's not going to sound like hype right here. So this is why everyone's talking about Palantir. This is why Palantir is just, it's really one of the main stocks everyone is watching right now. And there's a reason for that, is because Palantir right now is at this $40 mark. Now, obviously, it's sold off a little bit today, but we're just calling it at $40 right now, rounding it up. The reason why everyone's talking about Palantir is because Palantir doesn't look to be stopping with what it's doing. And Palantir has captured more deals here since this last quarterly they had. Not to mention Alex here, Alex Karp, has come out and said, hey, I just want to say this, like, Palantir right now is undervalued. And when he gave these interviews, it's almost like he was giving hints of, like, obviously he knows things that are going on in the company and that will be coming out here throughout the year. So he's definitely hinting at, like, hey, I'm just telling you, we're about to do things with Palantir that people have not seen here. Even going so far to say it's like, hey, we don't really have competition out there. Now, usually I think a majority of us would go like, well, competition is good. Well, in this situation, when you're controlling a certain part of a market, well, this might actually be in our favor right now for Palantir. Not to mention, we've got quarterlies coming out here in just a few short weeks. And with that, this isn't really big news, but it's something to mention here. That's CEO Alex Karp here we're talking about just became one of the guys added to the Forbes 400 list. One of the wealthiest people alive. So there's a lot of things going on with Palantir right now. And like I said before, if you're wondering why you're paying $40 a share right now, friends, in 3 weeks, you could be paying $45 to $50 a share for Palantir, and that might be the bottom at that point. This is a real conversation we're having here right now. Obviously, I honestly think Palantir is hotter than Nvidia right now. Where Nvidia was 4 months ago, it is strongly shifting to Palantir here. And the next level that's really going to shift Palantir into the 7th gear here is going to be this next quarterly coming up. The question is, yeah, we know they're going to beat this expectation of the quarterly. The question is, how big is this beat going to be? How big is the beat down going to be on this quarterly? Is it going to be 5%? 10%, 5-10%, Palantir will keep going up, but we're probably not going to see a lot of movement. What is really going to move Palantir into this next level? And we've seen this with other AI stocks. We just watched this with Nvidia, the last 2 quarterlies. We just watched this year. There's a reason why Nvidia got out of control this year. There's a reason why Nvidia had to do a stock split this year. It's because the stock would not stop freaking beating huge expectations on earnings. And obviously, for the person leaving the comment, yes, I know these are 2 different companies with 2 different scales of income with quarterlies. I get it. I'm using them as a reference. But going back to the big but here, on the smaller scale with Palantir, from what they've done in the past, and especially this year, if Palantir gets into a level right now where it is beating their quarterly on a 15 to 25 basis points, we're gonna see Palantir move really, really fast here. And this is what's going to move Palantir into a $45 position to a $50 position. It could go even higher because people could geek out. They could go into FOMO, and we could see a run on Palantir here where people just go like, okay, well, you know what? I've waited long enough. I just got to start buying in. That is what happened to Nvidia too. There's a moment with stocks where they show their price action. They show their sign of how much they're worth and what they are and that their valuation. But there's also a moment in time where they become popular and they hit this zeitgeist in the market where people that have never even... Think about this. There's people in the market right now that are not paying attention to Palantir. They don't even know about Palantir. I know that sounds crazy to say that, but there are people out there. But imagine Palantir beats these next expectations with these earnings at 25%, 30%, 35%. Imagine if they're more than that. Imagine we don't even know what's coming. And obviously, I'm being very bold right now. I get that. I know what I'm saying right now. But we've seen a lot of things in the market just this year alone that have left our jaws open. So what do we think Palantir is going to do if they just crush these expectations? If they just go berserk? Friends, this is what makes people very rich in a stock. If you're willing to hold out in a stock, if you're willing to get back in, if you're willing to let something ride. This is why it's so dangerous to sell your Palantir right now, because we don't know what's coming. And this is why I talked about this interview here with Alex Karp, these few little interviews he's given here these past few months. And obviously there's only so much he can say. He can't just come out and say like, hey, we're about to X this, that, we're doing this, that, there's only so much he can say because, he'll get fined. It's a crime. You can't just like hype the stock up to where people start buying it. But he's giving hints like, hey, I know I'm the CEO, but we're undervalued. We don't have competition. There is no limit to where we're going. There is no ceiling. We've got things coming here that people are not aware of what's coming. So when a CEO says things like this and they have proof to back up what they've been doing here the past few years, it's a call to action. Like it's a call to action to investors to go like, hey, we really need to focus what's going on over here in Palantir world. And this is where if they come out with these crushing quarterlies here, this is where you're going to see new investors come into Palantir. And what is that going to do? It's going to eat up food on the dinner table to where there's not a lot of easy plates to grab here. And this is what makes a stock so expensive when it starts getting a lot of attention. So I've gone over charts. All that stuff's important. It really is. If you're day trading it, swing trading it, yeah, you're going to want to look at candlestick charts and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about building up capital in Palantir. I'm talking about holding Palantir here for the next few years if they continue to crush these quarterly. People still think that Nvidia's done. Nvidia's not done. Nvidia's got the chip coming out, their new chip, the Blackwell chip. What are you talking about? Nvidia's about to crush a whole new set of numbers. We're going into an age right now where these AI stocks are going to make new levels of earnings, new millionaires. We are going into places we have never seen before with companies in AI companies that are leading the charge in the market. AI companies in the next 5 years, and not that there's so much not already, essentially, they will be in full control of the market. They will be fully in control of our global economy, 100%. Look at Apple. Look at Amazon. Amazon has invested so much money into AI. Look at Meta. My God, look at what is going on with that company and that stock. Unstoppable. Who would have thought Facebook, Meta, would have done what it's done? Good God. Friends, this is the genesis stage right now of where Palantir is going. So I just, if you hear me say anything, it's have patience. If Palantir comes out with these quarterlies that are anywhere above 15 to 20% beating expectations, it's going to 45 to 50 easy, and it's going to maintain a $40 to $45 mark easily. And if it gets caught in some kind of FOMO zeitgeist situation, especially going into January with the market pushing with a new president, who knows what we're going to see here. Friends, I bid you a great night, day, wherever you're at listening to me yap here. Friends, wish you all the best luck, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.